Hey folks, it's Wayne Davis, also known as the Bad GM. I promised you a couple of turn the finger so you can see them. I promised you a couple of exclusive videos to YouTube this weekend because you guys didn't get 2 episodes of the podcast like everybody got on the podcast feed. So, what are we going to do? Well, the first video we talked about miniatures, not in great detail because I'm not much of a mini guy. We do theater of the mind. I do want to talk, though. I mentioned many episodes ago, I talked about the role playing game Toon. Now, for whatever reason, I can't find my main rule book, but there are, like, when they did this game, they made it a point to publish actual, basically modules. That's what there are. These are. There are adventures in these books, uh, which is kind of rare for something that only got like a single release. It is Steve Jackson games, so I wouldn't surprise me to see that they did something like that. And I don't think I mentioned that actually when I did the Toon episode. Let me hold those up again, because if you go looking for them, you'll want to know what we had. I also know that I mentioned when we did the Toon episode that if you go looking for an actual physical copy of it, be willing to pay upwards of $100 because it's been out of print for so long. So have these. So if you're going to look for a physical copy, again, you're going to be somewhere between 50 and $100 depending. But I do note that Steve Jackson Games offers PDFs of these online. I think DriveThruRPG does as well. For those who may not, I apologize if you heard my dogs running around out in the hallway. For those who may not remember what Toon is all about, Toon is exactly what it sounds like. It is a cartoon tabletop role-playing game that doesn't play by any of the usual rules that we're used to. It's really theater of the mind, but then it is also what are the actions that are appropriate for the moment? What is the most like Looney Tunes thing that you can do to make the GM laugh or to make the other players laugh? That's how you determine whether or not what you did in a given run is successful. I have played it before. I've never run it before. So it's one of those things where be prepared to do something different. And Toon is not something that you do for a long campaign. It's what I would call a palate cleanser. I've been asked what I mean by palate cleanser before because there's some people that think that that's an insult to the individual game or the individual system. That's not what it's intended to be. If it's something that's really meant to be run for like 1 or 2 sessions, maybe 3, I call it a palate cleanser because it's enough to get you out of the system that you were in before or the game you were in before and kind of get you prepped and ready to do the next game you're going to do. So a palate cleanser, especially if you're changing between genres like Fallout and D&D or Shadowrun and Deadlands that are all completely different systems. To have something in the middle that gives you an opportunity to just settle in, just do some mindless fun where you don't have to do a whole lot of thinking. Board games are also good for that. That's what I mean by palate cleanser. I'm not trying to insult anybody's favorite game or favorite system. That's just what I consider them to be. So, Toon is one of those. I highly recommend if you can find the stuff, do it. So that's the second of your 2 special episodes. I apologize for them being short, but I wanted to give you something a little bit that's of your own that you can't get anywhere else. Hope you appreciate it. Till next time, I'm the Bad GM, Wayne Davis. I'll see you at the game table.